The entire system works to eliminate as much labor hours on site as possible in order to reduce pricing and make it more affordable for different generations of people, not only millennials.
The construction industry produces 600 million tons of waste every year, and that's just in the United States. Globally, it's probably something like 10x that. At the same time, we have an affordability crisis, we've got an environmental crisis, and another problem, too many of the houses we built just suck. They're ugly, there are too many of them, too built up together, McMansions, all that stuff. Can we solve all these problems with robotics, 3D printing, and maybe some good old-fashioned Henry Ford style automation? Welcome to TechFirst. Today we're chatting with Dmitry Starodubtsev, CTO of Mighty Buildings. Welcome, Dmitry.
Thank you.
What's wrong with the way we build houses today?
Yeah, I think there are three problems. So first is the housing supply chain. It is highly constrained. And second one is the labor crisis at the market, especially in the well-developed countries. And the third reason is that the current housing is not well enough for the market requirements, which are changing. For example, net zero requirement, or higher wind load or earthquakes requirement, especially in the regions like Florida and etc. So in the regions where there are like hurricanes, etc.
So you're applying 3D printing, robotics, automation. Give us a big picture. How are you building houses?
We are changing several parts of the construction process. So first of all, we start with building the so-called housing envelope, which is a wall system together with the ceiling and some other major components which are part of the envelope. We're building those components on factory and procures those to the construction site very fast and quick. And the additional advantage here is that we can easily localize the product for any particular market in the world without any issues with changing the requirements for higher wind loads or higher earthquake requirements and whatever.
Interesting. So you can build whatever local requirements there might be right into the system as you're building it. What do you use 3D printing for?
We're using 3D printing to accelerate and speed up the manufacturing process. We're manufacturing wall system, and 3D printing allows us to eliminate human labor, increase quality, and as well as increase the overall throughput of the factory. Because we are using factories as a tool, to produce those housing components, highly finished, highly completed housing components in different parts of the world. So the factory itself is a very important part of our value proposition. And 3D printing is part of this factory.
It's interesting because you must have fairly custom houses, because 3D printing makes a lot of sense when you're building sort of one-offs or few ofs, right? But if you're building sort of the same house 1,000 times or 10,000 times or 1,000,000 times, then often sort of a stamped or poured or cast type of manufacturing would work better, correct?
Yeah, you are 100% correct here, and we are actually changing the way how we approach market with the 3D printing technology. So, for example, if we are talking about concrete 3D printing, so most of the cases they are leveraging technology in order to build one-off projects with very unique architectural style, with very unique exterior look and etc. So we're approaching 3D printing differently. We're trying to automate construction process, increase quality, and increase factory throughput in order basically to unlock productivity in the regions with high housing demand, providing them our Mighty factories as a tool, to unlock those probably limited design options, but on a higher scale and with much more higher quality, and providing much more, market features necessary for the customers. For example, higher R value or, lower weight of the system, which allows, install it faster and more easy, and spend less on logistics and etc. And finally, so the entire system works to eliminate as much labor hours on site as possible in order to reduce pricing and make it more affordable for different generations of people, not only millennials, which was our original like value proposition, but for different types of people in the market.
What's the process at the construction site? How do you put it together? How much faster is it?
It is very simple. We produce highly completed, as I said, highly completed set of components which already implemented those parts, those features as, for example, exterior finishes, interior finishes, as well as connectors, to assemble the entire system faster. So we put it on site as a Lego blocks, and then we can easily assemble those pieces within like hours instead of like months of typical construction time. And actually, you can see the video on our website when we are showing how we built the building envelope, which consists of like a number of panels, easily assembled all together with a ceiling, which is also prefabricated part of the house, as well as we're introducing some of the prefab elements, such, for example, prefabricated bathroom unit, which produced remotely from as part of our global supply chain component, with the super high quality, finishes like tiles and everything. So from one of the, best suppliers in the world. But at the same time, by leveraging, different types of prefab components from different parts of the world, we're able, to assemble those together very, very quickly and with a high quality, focusing more on the energy efficiency and, product features, which are really important for the end customer.
So bathrooms, you can get like a prefab component. What about kitchens, flooring, other stuff like that, walls, interior?
Yeah, we're trying to move in both directions. So on one hand, we're trying to increase number of components we're producing with our core tech, with our composite materials, right? Increasing, finishes, for example, like exterior, etc. At the same time, on the other hand, we're moving with traditional prefab components, unlocking, more opportunities for traditional developers at the market, those we call emerging developers, to use the most high quality components from different parts of the world in their housing solutions. And finally, you're able to build a house faster and significantly optimize this, return of investment cycle for the developer by building faster with the, less labor hours used. And this is actually the core very proposition in our new B2B model, which we just announced, just recently, a couple of weeks ago.
Can an individual come to your website and order a house?
It is a very good question. We started with this model as a B2C company. We were approaching, the B2C customers with our first product. It was like low-hanging fruit for our company as a startup, to start building and selling homes faster with the new technology. But then, we got stuck with a number of issues related to, permitting process, which is very difficult, in different parts of California, especially, right? And we, as a company, since we're trying to adopt this technology faster, so we're trying to figure out the ways how to make it, faster and accelerate this process. And this is why right now we're focusing mostly on the B2B developers and not working with the direct customers.
That's sad news. I like what you've done. I like the look of the houses there. And I was hoping that, maybe you could just come and order one and go for it. Talk about cost. How much does it cost compared to standard construction?
Right now we're targeting on 20% less than the traditional construction. If we're talking about apple-to-apple options, right? When we, talk about the similar quality and similar, positioning on the market, we're targeting at the moment more like a semi-premium market. It is common for a lot of other startups, right? When they are starting adopting their new technologies. They're mostly, focusing on those customers who cares more about the, quality and design options and etc. But we definitely will go back to this mass consumer market going further when technology will get enough adoption actually with the industry. because our aim of the company and one of the major goals is to unlock the platform with the new materials, a new way of producing those construction components faster and in a more sustainable way, in order to allow developers in different parts of the world to switch to our new technology. And this is why the larger adoption of technology is possible only when we are working with the developers as a B2B customers, by having like larger projects, by having larger volumes of material, which at scale will decrease in pricing and etc. Basically, scaling the processes is one of the goals of the company, in order to achieve certain point when technology will get this necessary adoption, to become really affordable for the entire market.
You claim a 99% reduction in construction waste. How do you achieve that?
Everything which is related to our core components, so the wall system, which we call Mighty Kit system. So we are, achieving this 99% by simply, using 3D printing, which doesn't generate waste. So there is no waste in the factory. We're use exactly the same amount of material we need, for this particular component, and that's it. There is no any other operations which would produce this waste. Unless there are some certain operation for this 1%, but it's very little. And if you will come over to our factory, you can see that there is no dust or something like this, which is very typical for traditional construction processes.
Sure. You are 3D printing something you call light stone, which you say is 4 times stronger than concrete, but also lighter. Is it using some sort of honeycomb design to be more load bearing with less material? How is that stronger and lighter and a good material for building?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So if you're talking about the material and comparing apple to concrete, for example, even the material itself, without any honeycomb structure, etc., lighter than concrete. But when we leverage this, parametric design or, design for 3D printing by introducing infill structure into the wall system, we can significantly reduce amount of material by, remaining the same the mechanical parameters of the wall and, leveraging more, design solutions rather than just a, safety factor or factor of material, in order to achieve this structurally sound wall system, which finally, multiple times lighter, but at the same time, same strong system as the, whatever type of components we are comparing with, for example, wood or, concrete.
It would seem that at scale, you have significant room to decrease pricing yet, because at a 20% sort of discount in terms of the final product, when it's 50% faster, you got way less labor. Your site says 3 people can assemble, I think, 1,100 square foot home in 3 months or something like that. So your components must be a little more expensive right now. I'm guessing, it's still early in the process. You haven't maybe gotten to the scale that maybe you want to get to in the factory. Is that correct?
Yeah, you are 100% correct here. So the economy comes with scale, right? And this is a very specific. This is a rule for every startup. And by adopting our technology by having more larger projects, right? By leveraging more material, right? Material volume, so we can significantly accelerate our price reduction for the market, right? And so at the end of the day, so we will figure out, and together with the industry, how to reduce margins, right, for the entire industry, where in the situations where developer will choose the new technology, which gives probably lower margin, but by having the less labor involved and the lower and faster building time, so the finally developer will be able to build more houses, right? and unlock more potential, for development in their particular region, or even, go global, for example. And this is what actually significantly differentiate construction from, for example, automotive market, right? The major thing is that there is almost no, global construction companies in the world, if we're talking about like low-rise residential housing. So in multi-story development, there are, but in low-rise there are not, because the way how the traditional industry construct houses is very different from the automotive industry, and the way how people approach design, right, and architecture. And this is why we're thinking about like a global company here to build a platform that would allow people leverage very specific, probably limited design options for the end customers, but providing the highest quality, the fastest construction time, and everything which is necessary for our current time, like Z&E, right, zero net energy standard, and smart home components, and etc.
Let's talk about Z&E just briefly, the zero net energy. I saw in the two developments that you're doing in the California area, a lot of solar panels. Is that the idea there? You basically, all the energy that the community needs, the community produces?
Yeah, exactly. So the the idea is to design home in a way where it can like consume at the same amount of electricity which was generated by the alternative energy sources here, and the entire community. So we are building right now in California exactly like this.
Nice. The houses that you have on the site, I mean, you're a California company and you're building in California, look like they're California houses, and that's great. Do they also work in colder climates?
Yes, it definitely works because there are like several reasons for that. So first of all, the material itself, has a less like thermal conductivity compared to a bunch of other materials, for example, concrete. And by also leveraging different like design features, like as I said, like infill structure of the wall and introducing new insulation materials, so we can achieve much higher energy efficiency compared to traditional wall systems. This is why, we're, for example, right now, working on one of the projects with a very cold region in South Korea. I mean, it's something like, our, I wouldn't say like pet project, but we're like trying to figure out the specifics of this market by working with the very talented local architects. And, the local requirements there in terms of, climate are significantly different from the California. And it is very interesting, for us as a company, to design our technology in a way where we can build our homes in any part of the world. And for example, where I am right now, so in like closer to like Saudi Arabia, right, or United Arab Emirates, and etc. So the climate is so hot. And there is another problem, right? And the material, have to withstand all possible types of climate, right? In order to unlock this, construction possibilities with a new material in different parts of the world. This is why, I mean, shortly, simply answering, I would say that there are like no limits in this regard for the material. We just need to little bit like localize product for very particular market.
Yeah, I mean, it's all insulation, right? Insulation from too much heat coming in or insulation from too much heat leaving. There's different directions there, but that makes sense. My dream is that one of these days I'll be able to go to a site, design a house pretty simply, I'm not a big designer, so it has to be like building blocks, and I'm pretty visual and put the big picture together and then click buy now. And then it gets shipped in like a month or something like that to the lot, and it just gets assembled. Is that actually going to happen?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that is going to happen. And so we just need, to work all together. So because the industry is so broken, and that was, the major reason, why I personally, as a co-founder of the company, decided to start working on this technology, is because I've seen so many potential here. I mean, so there are like so many things we should do all together. And this is why I actually really like and love the competition in this area. So the more companies we have at the market, the faster we will unlock, the potential for like higher quality of homes and faster development time, which is now like sometimes is very crazy. And not only because of technologies, because there is like other part of this, right? So the compliance and permitting side, which is also broken, I think. But at the same time, I think so. There should be companies who would change this thing as well by introducing new digital ways of doing, for example, inspections on site. And it is possible, and it happened, in COVID. It was a very interesting story with us, So when COVID came, so we, changed the way how we do on-site inspections with the, authorities. And by leveraging, new digital tools, just simply, providing their like videos and etc. And it was enough for that. But once COVID stopped, so they switched back to their previous model. And I said, what's happened? Why we cannot continue? It's really great. I mean, we can really improve the process. They said, we should follow the process, whatever.
Interesting. You could get a telepresence robot in there. I've interviewed drone companies that do inspections of large scale construction projects, billion-dollar construction projects via flying drones. Lots of different options there. Dmitry, before we end this, I probably totally butchered your last name. Please say it properly so people can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Dmitry Starodubtsev.
I didn't do it too badly. I kind of just did it really quickly so that even if it was super bad, nobody would notice that much. So I guess it kind of worked out.
You did it great. You did it great.
Excellent. Thank you for your time.